Get rid of the full screen webcam pics and let me see the mod. Also fix your mic.
What's up guys, and welcome to today's mod review.
Now the mod that we're going to be reviewing today is a very interesting mod. A mod that I found all of a sudden and thought, you know what, let's show it off. But before I start, I need to say thank you from my heart to you guys. I appreciate all the support on the very first mod review I did. Once again, from that episode to this episode, I'm asking for feedback. Positive, negative, anything will do. And as you can see from the beginning of this episode, the fantastic comment that was left as constructive criticism. Hopefully I can address that and I fix those things and do better as a result. Now the mod that we're going to be covering today is the Rabby the Moon Rabbit race mod. You've heard of cat girls, you've heard of, you know, dog girls. Hell, I heard of dinosaur girls before I even started this thing, but bunny rabbit girls, we don't hear too much of. Now, obviously, bunny rabbit girls were sort of popularized within the 60s, 70s, and 80s with big old Huey Hef with his bunny rabbit girls and the Playboy magazine and all those exciting things. But in the modern era, we don't see too much of the bunny rabbit girls, and hopefully this mod can sort of show off why we need to see them back. Let's get into things and let's start with the content. So as we start this mod review, we need to look at the first impressions. The content of the Steam Workshop page need to be looked at first. And from first impressions, it all looks very good. I like everything this way has been put together. The pictures are very pretty, very in-depth, and very, very nicely and interestingly enough, there is a planetarium. Now, Runner has put this into a sort of fit the mod in and integrate it into Rimworld lore. Very convenient, very nice for those of you who are concerned. And for me personally, I like that. I like that it allows it to be sort of make sense and it's not just been put in there haphazardly, you know. Also, he adds mod recommendations. He recommends things to go with it. It's all very nice. The Steam Workshop page gets a big thumbs up from me. The only issue I can see here, there are a few translation issues. I will add very quickly that Runner is not English native speaking. He is South Korean and is a native South Korean speaker. You get the drift. So here we are with our first look in game. We have two of our lovely, beautiful, cute rabbits here showing off the fantastic apparel listed here. Here are 30 items of clothing that you can customize completely, stuff them with different types of leathers and things, all of them customizable very, very intricately, which is very nice, providing their own benefits and negatives. 30 apparel items that are not combat focused is a very large amount. And I like that this all comes into outfits and everything. I like that. I like that I can dress them up, which sounds, you know, a little bit suspect. But I promise, in terms of Rimworld, that's very, very good, I think. And here is the rest of the apparel. All of this is very military focused and is going to be there to protect our rabbits and not necessarily make them look cute. So as we can see, there's a lot of apparel for our rabbits to be wearing. And I like the fact that they're in uniforms, in outfits, and they make them look all lovely and cute and pretty. Now, I did emphasize how much I like the fact that I can make them into outfits. And it's not just because I like a rabbit girl in an outfit. I'm telling you. It's also because they provide their own unique buffs and everything. The worker's outfit gives better construction speed, better ability to do general labor, and the commander's outfit allows them to be better at social and negotiating. It gives you an actual reason to dress your colonists up in specific outfits and everything. And if that's what you like to do, you've got a Empire playthrough and you want to give your Empire rabbits, make them look like certain far-right people, then you go for it. You know, you have the time of your life, which I think is actually very nice. It gives you the freedom to actually do that. I don't think base game Rimworld allows people to do that enough, so it's a big plus for me. So you're probably wondering yourself, Joe, how do we make these lovely, fantastic outfits that I really want? Well, I'm going to tell you. So it requires two main apparel textiles. We have moon thread, and then we have this. Funnily enough, in dev mode, and when I was spawning in these items, it does very nicely translate to moon silk for me. So moon thread and moon silk, both of these are very cheap to make, and I'll touch on that later as to my issues with that. But these are the main two components for things that we'll be making stuff out of. And alongside all of the lovely apparel that we've provided and all the ways to make it, we've also been provided with a bionic tail, yeah, and a submachine gun, a PDW, an MP7. It's a gun. It provides one weapon within this mod, and it's a very detailed and nice looking gun. I would maybe like a few more rabbit specific weapons, but I'll take it. And then next, in terms of minified structures and structures within the mod, we have a moon tailor bench, a moon machine table, and then we have a wind trap. The wind trap is used to make planetarium dust and tea, which is actually a drug that the rabbits can take, and they actually have a dependency on. So if you do have rabbits, you will need to feed them these. And then we have the brain crystal. From what I understand, it awakens rabbits and gives them a lot of buffs. It's a kind of a random chance thing. There's not too much I can read about this because I don't speak Korean, but another cool, very nice rabbits on drugs. Sick. So a big thing that the runner adds in his Steam Workshop page for this mod is that there are over 250 unique traits for all of our individual rabbits. Now, I've spawned in a few here from 4 different factions. Very cute. I like their outfits. I like that you can all have different guns and stuff. It's nice. I like that. So I'm going to go flick through them. They do all have unique traits. However, just adding rabbit on the end or at the beginning of a vanilla trait kind of isn't that impressive. I honestly don't think there is as many traits as he said that are unique. I personally don't believe that adding rabbit to something then makes it unique, especially if it's pretty much the same as the base game. However, I will say that it's nice that they are all available, and you don't necessarily have to have a rabbit that is totally a rabbit, but could also just be a normal civil engineer or something. Now, very briefly, I touched upon the brain crystals that are added by this mod. I have no idea how you acquire said brain crystals, no idea where they come from. I haven't worked that out yet. But basically, you consume them and you become awakened to the planet. You get a plus 20% sight bonus and a plus 10% consciousness bonus. I can't work out if these are permanent or not, because I don't speak Korean. This is a regular theme throughout this. I don't speak Korean and unfortunately miss out on quite a lot of stuff here. Then last but not least, we have the 2 storytellers added by the mod. Seal Jackrabbit is a senior officer within the Rabbit Empire and basically increases the difficulty, and there's more raids and stuff. And we have Luna Jackrabbit. So basically, it's Randy Random, but worse. And by worse, I mean more raids, and scaling difficulty is there. So that is pretty much all the content that we can see within this mod. It's very good. I think there's a nice amount of content here. This would be a really good mod to be a sort of side thing for one of your playthroughs. It wouldn't be a main focus point. It would just be kind of there, making things better and of a better quality in the amount of content provided. However, as you can kind of see, there aren't as much depth in certain areas that I'd like. Yes, there is lots of apparel. Yes, it looks very good. But there's not really anything else. There's no sort of bunny rabbit themed things. There's no bunny rabbit themed weapons or anything, which I would kind of quite like to see. And obviously we have the translation issues. And for that reason alone, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10, which obviously is not bad. Could be a lot worse. But I do think this could be a lot better. Now, next up is going to be the quality. We start looking into the quality of all the lovely pieces of clothes here. I will very quickly remind you guys, I am using the Camera Plus mod as one of the mods as part of making this mod review. I will never ever review it, 10 out of 10 mod, and will never do an episode on it. Now, in terms of zooming in on all these fantastic items of clothes, they're all very lovely, all very appropriate, and I must say, I like the art style of them a lot, in fact. They could potentially be of higher definition. They could potentially have a few more pixels to make them look better, but it doesn't need it. I think it fits the art style really, really well within this mod, and in terms of quality of this, I'm very happy about that. Next, I have 2 individual, very lovely bunnies here. One of them is wearing the workman's outfit, and the other one is just wearing a kind of base level vest and t-shirt apparel. As we can see from the sprites that have been created, they're very good looking. Hold up. They're nice sprites to look at. Like they're very good quality. They fit nicely. The only issue I'm seeing here in terms of quality is that because they are so detailed and because they are so good, it doesn't really fit in with Rimworld. It will require you to obviously use a lot of other mods to make the vanilla base game stuff look a lot better to match this. But overall, very good. And following on from the apparel, we've got the military uniforms. And once again, the art style used is so good. I'm sorry, it's some of the best art style I've seen in Rimworld for a very, very long time. Whilst it doesn't quite fit in with everything else, it just looks so good. It's so nice to look at. And then following on from that, we've got the moon silk and the moon thread. As terms of textiles to look at, they look nice. And then next we have the minified structures and everything. There's only 3 provided, so you're kind of hoping these are also going to be of a very good quality. Now, I personally believe these are slightly dipped in quality in terms of what we've already seen, but still, very nice looking. They fit well with the rest of the mod, but maybe could be a little bit better. I don't know what it is about these. something just doesn't seem quite right, something a little bit off. I don't know if there's a texture somewhere, or there's some sort of tone or whatever with the coloring. Something's not quite right, but very good still. And last but not least, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but I am a sucker for sound design. And the MP7, the submachine gun, the PBDW, or whatever it's called that is added by this mod, has its own custom sound effects. Oh, it's actually so good. This is one of those little small details that actually go such a long way in my opinion. The custom sound animation I think is really good actually. It's perfect. I love it. It makes me so happy to see the custom sound animation. So as you guys can tell, in terms of quality, I'm very impressed, honestly. I really like the way the art style fits with it in what is provided in the mod. It all looks really, really good. Obviously, there's a slight issue with what the workbenches are, but that is so minor, I'm not even going to think about it. Quality, so far for me, and the love and care that's obviously been put into what we're looking at, it's going to be a 9 out of 10 for me. Now, I have rated it down ever so slightly. Not because of the workbench, but actually because of the language issues and here, there, everywhere. I haven't touched upon that much, but for me, it is a slight issue for obvious reasons. Next, we're going to be moving on to the balancing, and I do have some concerns in that perspective. For me, balancing is really important. It shows how good it fits into vanilla Rimworld, whether or not it's overpowered or underpowered. Now, obviously, we want things to be perfectly balanced. We don't want them to be too overpowered. We don't want them to be too underpowered. And then the apparel within this mod, as I mentioned earlier, all gives its own buffs and cons. Generally, each individual piece of apparel will provide a buff of some sorts, whether that's general cooking speed, whether it's general construction speed, whether it's negotiating, whether it's mining. Whatever it does, it provides a bonus. Now, these bonuses on their own as one individual piece of apparel isn't that much. It's not that good. It's maybe an 8% increase, a 10% increase. But when you prepare that with the rest of the outfit, there's usually 1 or 2 pieces, it provides the buff to be almost doubled. So it kind of does force you to use the outfits as they're intended for their specialized purposes. The cookware is going to use the cookware stuff for cooking. The commander outfit is going to be used for social impact and some military stuff, and the workman outfit for general labor. I like that it's balanced in such a way that you are kind of forced to use the entire outfit to make the most of the mod in order to get the buffs out of it. I like that. I like that I'm being almost forced in the nicest way possible to use the items within the mod. It's a very nice ploy, honestly. Now, when I'm downloading a mod for Rimworld and I see that it includes apparel and armor and weapons and stuff, I want to see how good it is. Is it better than Rimworld vanilla stuff, or is it, you know, just a bit shit? For me personally, the armor that's within this mod fits in a very sort of late stage of Rimworld. As you can see here, I've compared it all to Cataphract stuff and some of the mid-level stuff being compared to a Blackfest. Now, I will very quickly add that all of the stuff here is of excellent quality to try get the best amount of consistency and everything to show how good they are. And overall, everything added by this mod is better than Cataphract gear, which you can look at it being kind of bad or kind of good. It's pretty good, to be fair. But it being better than Cataphract is nice that it adds that extra level of ability and endgame stuff to it, and in terms of getting the research for this, it is very late stage as well. So I'm fairly content that it's better than Cataphract, but still kind of balanced. So next we'll be comparing Moonthread and Moonsilk. Now, to start with, Moonthread. Moonthread, to me, is very comparable to Synthread. In fact, I'd say they're pretty much the same. And that goes for the Moonsilk as well. Moonsilk has the equivalent of Hyperweave, both very late game Rimworld textiles. Synthread and Hyperweave are probably the most powerful textiles you can get in Rimworld apart from Devilstrand. Now, my only issue comes from the fact that you can make Moonthread and Moonsilk at the Moon Tailor bench for the equivalent of just any textile in the game. You can literally make Moonthread and Moonsilk out of cloth. You can make it out of leather. You can make it out of human leather if you really want to. There is a slight balancing issue in the fact that you can make Moonthread and Moonsilk very early on in the game. Now, I haven't quite worked out if it is research locked or not because I don't speak Korean. It's kind of a recurring theme, as we know. But from what I can tell, it's not research locked, so you can literally make this at any stage and make unbelievably powerful stuff from very early in the game. Not very balanced for very obvious reasons. So next we look at the Rabbi PDW, the SMG that's added by this mod. Now, unlike the Moonthread and the Moonsilk that are extremely easy to obtain and very powerful, and unlike the very late game Cataphract equivalent from the mod, the PDW is very balanced. It fits in very much in between the auto pistol, the heavy SMG, and just the regular SMG. It's a very nice hybrid between all three of these weapons, which I'm quite impressed at, actually. I like to see this. It's not necessarily good, but it fits really well for some reason. And it's got its own custom sound. It's probably the most balanced thing I've seen in a long time. Full credits to Runner for that, honestly. So overall, in terms of balancing, I do have my issues. Whilst I was extremely impressed with the Rabby PDW and fitting in so nicely, it's the rest of it. The balancing seems to be a little bit off. It seems to be slightly too overpowered, honestly, for Rimworld, for my liking. However, if you were to use this with various other mods that add loads of other overpowered stuff, this would probably fit in quite nicely, in fact. So maybe this is more an issue on my end of only comparing this to Rimworld in its vanilla stage. Maybe comparing this mod to various other modded things, it's not too bad. For me personally, I'm going to be giving it a 4 out of 10 in terms of balancing. That's just how it is. I think it's just too overpowered, especially being able to get the moon thread and the moon silk so easily. It just seems a little bit broken in my opinion. So next we need to cover compatibility and bugs. And I'll be honest, I did have a few issues here. Now to start off with, I'm going to show you my mod list. Now it's not something I would generally do. I don't really care what mods I run or anything. Most of them are just makes the game to run better. However, as you can see, I'm running the mod that we're reviewing, and I'm also running character editor. Unfortunately, in base game Rimworld, I couldn't find a way to actually spawn into a game using the Rabbies as my main faction and the main faction that I was going to use it for my colonists. I couldn't find a way, so I had to use mods in order to enable this. Not necessarily an issue, but something that would potentially be nice to be added within the description of this mod. Next, we're going to be looking at two bugs that were apparently reported. One of them, a black skin bug. Couldn't recreate that, despite how hard I tried. Could not do that. And the next one being that the Hulk body trait could potentially be added to a rabbit. Whilst I thought this was hilarious when I read this, I also could not recreate this. Other than that, I think the main incompatibility, the biggest bug, the biggest issue with this mod is the mod itself. I said earlier, the quality is brilliant, but it's too good. It doesn't fit Rimworld. I think if you're going to play with various other mods that are similar to this, and we could replace all the other factions that are base game with the same quality of faction that is added with this mod, you'd be having a good time. Otherwise, you're going to see inconsistencies. It's not going to fit in the same. But if you don't mind that, it's not that big of an issue. This is just me talking. So I think in terms of incompatibilities, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10 because there are issues. Generally speaking, though, I had no bugs or anything that I saw in my playtime. So last but not least, we're going to look at the mod recommendations for this mod. These are mods that I, in my opinion, think would go best with this mod. And we're going to start with one that I think is imperative that you use if you are like me and speak English. The English translation mod. One of those mods that if I felt like I was going to review more than one mod at a time, I would have included this. But however, I wanted to review the actual mod itself without any extra mods in order to make it work. And next, like I said, this mod doesn't particularly fit in with vanilla Rimworld, so why not make the facial animations a little bit better, a little bit more animated to try fit in with the more anime style of this mod. And speaking of facial animations, why don't you make your rabbits facially animated? I personally have not used this mod. It has got a couple of bug issues that are mentioned within the comment section of this mod. And speaking of factions that I think would go very, very well in hand with this mod is the Mincho the Min Choco Slime faction mod. Holy moly, this mod for me is a famous mod. In fact, I used this in a series a few months ago and it was an incredible faction to add. I love the design of these, not just because they're very sexy and very creamy, but they just look really, really good. This faction alongside the rabbits would probably look really, really good. Last but not least, in terms of mods that I recommend with this, the More Linkables mod. What one do you potentially think I would recommend with this, but with all the different outfits and everything? Why not make the best possible crafting area that you can make? Why not make the best kitchen that you can make? More linkables means more customization for your own work areas, and I think that's actually really nice. And I think in terms of all the different mods that I've recommended here, and other ones that I have not mentioned, in terms of ability to add more mods to this mod in cohorts is actually pretty good. I genuinely think I was going to struggle to recommend a lot of mods to go with this because it was such a unique mod. But I think there's a lot of actual customization and stuff that you can do within your bases. I think I probably could have recommended some other scenery ones and props ones. And for that, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10 in terms of mod compatibility and mod recommendations. Could obviously be a little bit better, but I think the niche unfortunately hinders that. We've come to the end of this review. Time to give it an overall score of to what I think personally. Now, in terms of content, I gave it a 6 out of 10. In terms of quality, 9 out of 10. Extremely good score, might I add. In terms of balancing, it got a 4 out of 10. And in terms of compatibility, it got 6 out of 10. And mod recommendations, 7 out of 10. This gives it this grand total score of 32 out of 50. And on my ratings list, this gives it a pretty low B-tiered mod. Now, I think this is a very fair review, honestly. I think that this mod doesn't fit in with a lot of playthroughs, and I don't think that this is the quality that I personally would like to see for a mod of this quality and the caliber that I'm expecting, honestly. Not necessarily the mod translations being an issue, but it did hinder my experience, unfortunately. And if I was going to review this mod again, I would definitely make sure that I include the English compatibility version that I think is very important if you are using this mod as an English speaker. However, for the sake of mod review and only reviewing one mod, I have not included it for that specific reason. Other than that, I was kind of let down at the balancing and, you know, the content that was there. I wanted more bunny rabbit stuff. I wanted to see more sexy bunny rabbits, all right? I'll be honest, I wanted to see more. But overall, B tier, I think is pretty good. Now, if you have any feedback or anything for this mod review and you want to see your mod recommended, join the Discord. The link is in the description. And make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you tell your mum about it as well. And I'll see you next time. Thank you.